Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Art. A few minutes I take every weekday morning to share some thoughts in the hope that it'll stimulate discussion, specifically about how to end the two-party divide. If you're disgusted with the two-party system and how it's failed us of late, then you're in the right place. Because I'd like to start a discussion that's very different from the polarized arguments that you hear from both sides of the trench warfare that America's two-party system has become. So today what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about my background. No, I'm not wealthy and I don't have a lot of power. So for most Americans, that means my opinion doesn't mean much. But I truthfully believe in the American system of government as instituted by the Constitution of 1787. And I really believe that the citizens are supposed to be in control of the government. I think that Lincoln said it best when he said a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So that's what I'd like to discuss. But I don't have wealth or power, so let me tell you a little bit about my background. When I got out of high school, I had a tremendous experience as a camp counselor at a camp called Camp Metigoshe. And from that, I got a recommendation to work with a youth program in Minot, North Dakota, which was the closest big town to where I lived and where the camp was. And so I worked with the youth program in that church until I graduated college. Well, now I'd been out working for a few years, actually in the middle of my third year. And the pastor who I had worked for ended up being the executive director of the state Democratic Party. And he called me up and asked if I'd be interested in working in politics. And although I'd never been to a political party meeting in my life before I accepted a state level job in politics, which I think is pretty unique, I'd always been fascinated by political discussions, so I took the job. And unfortunately, it gave me an education in things that I hadn't really counted on. My job was to be doing public relations and fundraising. And so I thought I would be doing, because it was a Democratic Party, I had pretty much accepted the Democrats were the party of the little guy, and the Republicans were for the big, wealthy interests. And so when I had this job that I'd accepted as a fundraiser, I assumed I'd be doing $10 fundraisers, bean feeds, that sort of thing. No, they didn't want me messing around with that. I was supposed to go after the big bucks, nothing less than $500. And so that was a shock. And then I found out that a 25-year-old kid, which is what I was at the time, even if you're saying the right things, the people who have the money aren't going to hand it to you. Know what it takes, and this is the big lesson that I learned, is those political contributions, especially the big ones, are all about access. When the critical legislation is coming up that affects their particular business interest, company, or whatever, they want access. They want to walk in that door and be known on a first name basis. And so it's all about access. And that was the cruel lesson that I learned firsthand. And it's affected me ever since. So basically from the age of 25, when I left the political job, and the age of 65, when I finished the book, I've been thinking about the effects of the various parts of our political problems and how to do something about it. And so this represents 40 years of work for me. Lots of trial and error. Some of you out there remember some of those trials and some of those errors. But I think the book turned out really well, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Political Cocaine: How America Got Hooked on the Two-Party System and How to Intervene. And I hope it will help you have discussions. I hope this little personal note gives you an idea where I'm coming from, because it's all idealistic. I believe in the United States of America. I believe it's worth saving from the two-party system, which I also believe is its greatest threat. A house divided cannot stand. But let's discuss making things better. Every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So I hope you can unwrap your present with someone special today and have a marvelous day. Hope to see you in the future.